Ice Cube's Big 3 is back. The most competitive basketball league on earth is on CBS this Saturday. Big 3 All-Star Dwight Howard and the LA Riot take on Greg Monroe and the Dallas Power. Then Coach Rick Mahorn, Sensation Nazir Kaur, and the Detroit Amps look to protect home court against back-to-back MVP Michael Beasley and the defending champs Miami 305. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and catch replays on BET.
Oh, yay, yay!
Join Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe Wednesday 10 to 2 at RGS Exteriors at 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. DJ PK, and we're joined by Ben Anderson, co-host Jake and Ben, KSL Sports Utah Jazz Insider. Ben, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you actually in New York and not in New Jersey right now, are you? PK wants to know.
I'm in New York. I'm looking at the Empire State Building.
Oh, nice. Have you learned anything new about the draft since you arrived in the Big Apple, or is it all still a mystery despite the conversations and interviews?
Feels like the cement is slowly hardening. It feels like it's getting a little, what I think the expectations have been now for a little bit seem to be solidifying. It seems like AJ Dybantsa is becoming more and more the favorite to go number one overall. And then, I guess the big news yesterday was that Darryn Peterson did end up reconnecting with the Jazz in the last week after a week ago Monday. He canceled his workout with the expectation that he was going to be the number one overall pick.
Why be coy as far as where he met with them? What was the purpose?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. And that's been a little bit strange throughout this entire process. Even Washington, it was kind of unclear whether he actually went to Washington and visited their facilities or what had happened there. If you went back to Shams Charania's tweet, he said they met and that the Wizards had seen him in Los Angeles, but they didn't really indicate that he'd been to Washington. Now, yesterday he said he was in D.C. And had been there. So I'm not sure why there's this kind of game that's being played about where he has been or has not been. But I think the Jazz saw him or talked to him at least over like a Zoom call. I do not think he's been to Utah.
I was curious all along if he was only doing an interview with them because somehow the hand had been tipped and he thought he was going number one, or if that was kind of trying to put out there, well, obviously I'm the number one pick and I'm not going to interview with anybody else, and seeing if he could kind of guide the process. But now that he's met with the Jazz and he's confirmed it himself, I guess I go back to your point about the cement hardening. I was starting to think that he was going to go one and AJ was going to go two. Now I'm flipping that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I kind of thought maybe that would be the case, and certainly the reports that I had last week was that was the belief with a couple of different camps that Darryn was going to be the number one overall pick, but it does not seem like anyone's all that secure in that thought. And I think Peterson's camp probably visited the Wizards and thought they had such a good workout that it could be no choice but him. And then they realized over the last week, oh, well, AJ also had a good visit. And again, none of these guys are working out or doing anything. They're just sitting and talking and, going to dinner or going to breakfast. And I'm sure that seems like it goes well for everybody. So I'm guessing it was more posturing than it was, real intel from Peterson's side.
That's what makes this draft so intriguing, and the fact that the Jazz had the number 2 pick. If it was the number 7 pick, it wouldn't be as enthralling for us. But the fact that they do have the number 1 pick, or number 2 pick, I should say, and we don't know this close who's going to be the number 1 pick in what order. Just the intrigue and the buzz when you were in that room. I covered one draft, and all of my great luck is when they used to move it around, and I got stuck going to Charlotte, North Carolina. Nothing against Charlotte, North Carolina, but as a guy...
But you're from Jersey and you want to go to New York. Let's just say it.
My mother worked at the City College of New York every day, and I used to have an uncle who would take me into off-track betting, so I have a deep history with the city. But no, I was in Charlotte. Plus, that draft... we knew Duncan was going to go 1, and we knew Van Horn was going to go number 2. So I'm wondering, as you're in that room yesterday, because I did the same thing where they have the breakouts and all that, how much, and you have nothing to compare it to compared to what mine, I understand that, but I'm just wondering if there was a buzz in there, because this is so rare that it's such a mystery with the draft just hours away.
Yeah, I was at the Andrew Wiggins draft, and that was obvious he was going to go number 1 and Jabari was going to go 2. And then there were some questions about what was going to happen 3, 4, 5. And obviously Dante Exum ends up slipping to the Jazz at 5 when they thought they were going to get Aaron Gordon. So this feels a little There's less buzz, I think, inside the building because it was like a big deal when Andrew Wiggins walked in the last time because Wiggins was going to be the guy and he had this very loud suit on. And I think everyone was kind of excited to see those players. I do think this mystery is a shroud that's kind of hanging over everybody. And look, Darryn Peterson said yesterday, talking to him, said everyone's got a good poker face. He says he doesn't know what's going on. AJ Dybantsa keeps talking about either the Jazz or the Wizards. He clearly doesn't know if he's going to be the number 1 or the number 2 overall pick. Boozer, I don't want to say he was aloof, but he certainly wasn't alluding to being the number 1 overall pick either. So I do think those questions have put a bit of a shroud over this draft. And I think it makes it more fun for the fans. And the fact that all three of these guys are so different. You've got a very true kind of throwback power forward. You've got kind of the prototypical wing, though there's obviously shooting questions with AJ Dybantsa. And then you have a potential superstar guard in a league there where 2 guards aren't really in vogue all that much anymore. So it's really strange on that front that there's 3 guys who do things completely differently. And you've got to project the future of what the NBA is going to look like.
The early talk about the Wizards maybe trading out of number 1, trading with the Jazz, the price tag was so high. As soon as you hear Ace Bailey, I'm like, oh, come on. But now we're down to the last few hours. What about the thought that the Wizards maybe have played a great poker hand? Nobody really knows what's going on. They haven't shown their cards. So could they come back to the Jazz and say, give us some future picks, whether they're yours or somebody else's, whether they're in a year, 2, 3, whatever, and 1 or 2 of your younger players, not named Ace Bailey, maybe not even named Keontae. Maybe it's Collier, Filipowski, somebody. Do you think the Jazz go for a deal like that to move up to number 1, where the price tag is significant, it's meaningful? The Wizards can get an extra pick or 2, an extra young player, whatever it is they value, but it's not backing up the truck.
No, I don't think anyone backs up the truck to move up 1 spot, regardless of where you are in the draft. Even, especially this late in the process now. If there was a clear-cut, obvious number 1 guy, maybe. But 1 to 2, with how close these guys are, yeah, maybe you could get an extra first-round draft pick out of this, but I don't think there would be a lot of young players. Or you would get just a young player, but no, it wouldn't be Ace Bailey or Keontae George, certainly. It would be a much smaller role player, I think, that maybe has some upside that could fill a need. But I think if you're Washington in that sense, you have to think the top 2 guys are very close, and your goal is, well, if I get another asset, then I, intrinsically just have more value coming out of the draft than anybody else does, because we don't know who's going to be the best player 2 or 3 years from now. But I just don't get that impression. I don't really see a world where they move down. Of course, anything could change. And while you said the Wizards played, have had a good poker face throughout this. So the Jazz, we don't know what the Jazz actually want to do. We don't know who's number 1 on their board. I think the assumption would be AJ Dybantsa, but there's a real world where it's Darryn Peterson. And then I won't be surprised if tonight at 2, the Jazz take Cam Boozer. And that's just what a mystery this draft has become. But by doing that, they have made it hard for anyone around them to leverage the pick or leverage extra value out of it.
What do you think that the point of them, the Jazz, meeting with Peterson, wherever it was, whenever it was, in this past week, that they were looking for a particular type of information?
I think it's always good to check back in when you're not at the combine. Maybe you get a little bit more time with them. You might be in the same room, you might not be in the same room, just to see how they've responded to the process and see how they're feeling. Whatever you missed in your draft combine interview, if you can go back and revisit it, or maybe you left with some questions. I do think there's always still value there. But yeah, just an interview process, if it's not going to be, an actual in-person dinner or breakfast the next day, I'm sure it's not as beneficial. But I would imagine anything is better than nothing at this point. And then gauge how comfortable they are if they do end up in Utah now. The lottery was like the 13th? 11th, somewhere around May.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about, 6 weeks later. How have they changed? How have they adapted? Has their tune changed a little bit as they've gotten more intel? I think that's always a part of the value.
I asked you about the Jazz maybe trading up to 1. What do you think about any chance there could be a trade down to 3? I mean, for the people who think they like Boozer and they played their cards well, could they get the Grizzlies to trade up?
Yeah, could the Grizzlies give up a first-round pick? Sure. I mean, if the Jazz feel like, the Grizzlies think they have to have Cam Boozer. It seems like Cam Boozer is the favorite in Memphis. And if the Jazz have put on a good enough poker face that they feel like, oh, maybe Cam goes 2 and we simply can't exit this draft without getting our guy, would they throw in an extra draft pick? I think those conversations have to be had, and there has to be, I'm sure the Wizards have, or I should say the Grizzlies have gauged the interest of, what the Jazz is of trading down, and even what the Wizards would be of trading down. I think you probably have to do that due diligence. I mean, you guys had Austin Ainge on, and he scoffed at the idea that you do that right after the lottery.
Yeah.
But it's been 6 weeks. You have a lot of time to talk and see what's going on and see what's out there. You might as well see what the value of your pick or the other team's picks are.
Here's what I want. Whoever they take when they announce the first one and then the Utah Jazz are on the clock, 30 seconds later they have the pick. That sends the message, we got our guy. This is who we wanted all along. From a PR stance, that would be just brilliant. So I would advise you to tell them that on behalf of me.
You want me to go track down Derek and let him know how to handle this process?
Yeah, get right on it, man. Doesn't that send a powerful message? Oh, this is who we wanted all the way. Yeah.
I think the Jazz will be excited with whatever happens. I do think there's going to be, some sense of running to the podium to make the selection. These three players specifically are so different than anyone they've drafted, really, and honestly, in my lifetime. The talent levels is significantly higher than the rest of the players they've brought into Utah. Now we'll see how they develop, but the starting point is so high.
And in your lifetime, Ben, and I believe this month, you have a double changer on your age numbers.
I did. I moved to the big 4-0.
He says with as little enthusiasm as possible.
Well, Ben is not a hyperbolic guy.
He is not. But he's got a dry sense of humor. It's the wind blowing in off the desert.
Yeah.
I think that to your point about they're going to be happy whoever they get at number 2, and I think didn't we have that confirmed when we saw the video of the actual draft lottery happen and we saw Austin Ainge's celebration and fist pump? They'd already evaluated the guys, and yes, there's details to learn and T's to cross, I's to dot and all that stuff. But that fist pump says, I've watched a lot of basketball, and there's 3 really good players at the top of the draft, and we're picking second.
Yeah, there was another video the Jazz released, actually kind of sitting in the audience when the lottery was announced, not the actual draft situation with the lottery balls, but kind of when they announced it on TV, and it was Danny Ainge, was Justin Zanuck, and I think Avery Bradley, and they all fist bumped when they found out they had the number 2 pick, and they were excited. Yeah, you know, this 4 years has been pretty brutal if you're a Jazz fan. It has been about trying to get a premier talent, and maybe you end up getting that with Keontae George, or maybe Ace Bailey ends up developing into that. But having a player like Darryn Peterson or AJ Dybantsa or Cam Boozer fall into your lap at the very end of this process, I think probably justifies a lot of it for them, at least something to sell, at least something that they can be excited about. Now they've got to grow this player into a true superstar in the next phase of the franchise, but at least you've got a chance to do it. You're not just, picking in the dark. This is there's a real chance that this player does end up becoming the best player on the roster in a few years.
Did you see the Carlos Boozer quote?
Which one?
Where he basically said, if you don't draft Cameron, you will regret it.
Yeah, he says his son's the best winner in this group. And, it's pretty hard to argue with what his resume has shown, that Cam has won throughout high school. Was it 4 state championships in the state of Florida, and becomes the player of the year at Duke, and, not just the ACC player of the year, but the National College player of the year. And his numbers were unmatched. He is unique in that front. He's got one of the best resumes we've ever seen from a player coming out of high school or coming out of college, whether that's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or LeBron James or now Cam Boozer. I mean, he is in truly elite company when it comes to his history to this point.
So I'm wondering, do you think that maybe that's a little subliminal message, or maybe even direct message to the Jazz?
I think there's probably some fathering going on in there, but yeah. I'm sure Carlos is campaigning for Cam. I mean, I think that would make sense, and obviously it's not the cleanest fit with the Jazz, though fit can't matter that much at this point, but no, I mean, there's a real, that I'm sure there are people within the Jazz's front office. I can't confirm this, but I'm sure there are people who have Cam Boozer number 1 on their board. I don't think, if you believe the numbers you look at, and as I've been told, I mean, he's a mile ahead of everybody analytically and everything they look at, that you can at the very least consider him.
Right.
Fit doesn't worry me at all. They just need to pick the best player. And given how many games guys are sitting out, and given how many different positions guys can play these days, I just have zero worry about fit. Even with Jackson and Markkanen, there'll be time for him. There'll be combinations to play. I don't see why that should even be part of the discussion. Just pick the best player. Pick the best player, and it'll be if that's Boozer, the playing time will work out fine.
And in all honesty, I think there's an argument that you actually look at the Jazz's timeline
Yes.
and Boozer might be the best fit because at some point you're going to have to pick between Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. and then Cam Boozer slides right in. I don't think you're trying to do that with Ace Bailey. And if you take AJ Dybantsa, then you have that question. And if you take Darryn Peterson, you have the question with either Ace Bailey or Keontae George. So, yeah, I'm not sure that there really is a perfectly clean fit for anybody on this roster 3 years from now. Each one of these guys, assuming they develops, is going to probably push somebody out of Utah.
Right. So I think fit needs to be considered. I'm not saying it needs to be considered number one, but I think it needs to be considered because if you got somebody ahead of you, or is it potentially that Darryn Peterson stifles Ace Bailey's growth? I mean, you can make a case for that. So I don't think it's not the most important thing. But and I like to push against conventional thinking anyway. We all know that I think it's something that you should be aware of at minimal.
And you should be aware of, what the trade market is for Lauri Markkanen if he ends up out there and how that could complete your roster. Ideally, this is a team that's trying to compete for a championship or in 2 or 3 years. So, what's going to be that last piece that pushes you over the edge? Who's going to be, your Karl Anthony Towns that comes into the Knicks that kind of gets you where you're trying to go? And then what's your best way of actually getting that next player? Is it by trading an Ace Bailey? Is it by trading a Keontae George? Is it by trading a Lauri Markkanen? And those are questions for probably 24, 36 months from now, but that certainly probably has to be a part of the equation. These front offices think so far down the line when they're building out their teams. I know it's not really what fans want to think of. They want to think of this entire group being together, but the next time the Jazz are really, really good, at least one of these faces is likely going to be gone.
And there's no way to guess which one right now, is there?
No, I don't think so.
Because you don't know who the Jazz are drafting. Yeah.
Hey, 3 years from now, what's our confidence level that we know who the best player on the Jazz is going to be? I think there's a case it's Keontae. I think there's a case it's Ace Bailey. There's a case it's whoever they draft today. And there's a case it's still Jaren Jackson Jr., who was probably the best player today and is only 26 years old and should only be getting better for the next few seasons.
Yeah, which I think is actually a good problem to have if that's the case. I think that's exciting for the future that you are set up to win if you play your cards right and all that stuff. With that in mind, have you had some New York pizza yet?
I haven't had any pizza yet. We had a hot dog at the Yankees game on Sunday. That was fun. But we'll probably have to stop and grab some pizza before the trip is over.
Yeah. If not, don't come back.
You got a spot, PK?
Any of them. Yeah, there's a million of them. I have one particular one across the bridge, but I don't think you have wheels to get over there.
No.
New York thin crust or Chicago deep dish?
Oh, there's no question.
I've only had Chicago deep dish one time. That was at the All-Star game in 2020, but it was inside the Bulls arena, and that's not really a good way to judge it. Okay. So I'll go with New York for now.
All right, there it is. And reserve the right to change your mind.
I always can.
All right, Ben, we will hear you 2 o'clock today. Your show with Jake. And then the draft tonight, tracking things down. Where do they put you for the draft? What's the setup? Do you know? Do you know how this is going to
work? In the past, you've just kind of been in the stands. They have like a media setup, so I'm sure that'll be the same area. But this will be different. I'm not going to go park anywhere because I'm going to try and be down on the floor when AJ or Darryn or Cam Boozer gets selected, and then I'm going to follow him into the media room, and then it's right to work. So there's not going to be a lot of sitting and watching tonight.
Yeah, you're not going to. You're going. I can remember because Keith went second, and I didn't get back out until the main room when they were on 26 or something.
Oh, yeah.
And I started looking at the names because it's cool that your guy or your team, in this case, I was a guy, not a team. You're a team, not a guy. And then once that team or guy is selected, then you just focus on that, and the night seems to just blow by.
Yeah, and then you sit and wait till they make them available to you. So that'll be my evening.
All right. Well, Ben, we appreciate a few minutes. Thanks for joining us, and go get that pizza.
My pleasure.
All right. Ben Anderson, 2 o'clock today with Jake, right here on The Zone. NHL draft's coming up Thursday and Friday. We're going to talk with Stephen Ellis, NHL draft and prospects analyst for the Daily Faceoff at 9 o'clock. It's a double draft kind of week right here on The Zone. DJ PK, stay with us.
Welcome to
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Everything I have heard, Walker loves Utah. Walker wants to be in Utah. Walker's happy in Utah. Walker would prefer to end up in Utah, but he just wants as much money as possible.
He was around the team an incredible amount last year.
Yep, he was.
He was with them on the road on trips that he absolutely did not need to go to for a player that shut it down for the entire year. And he was with them at the end of the year, again, where he had even less incentive to be with the team, around the players, around the new players in Jaren Jackson Jr.
The Jazz love Walker the person. They really like Walker the player. They want him to be a part of their team. But you can't pay the wrong person too much money because then you're not building a championship team anymore. You know, you're not building a contending team. You're just paying your dudes because you like your dudes, and that's not the job. You've got to get everybody in the right place at the right price.
Catch Jake and Ben afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ice Cube's Big 3 is back. The most competitive basketball league on earth is on CBS this Saturday. Big 3 All-Star Dwight Howard and the LA Riot take on Greg Monroe and the Dallas Power. Then Coach Rick Mahorn, Sensation Nazir Kaur, and the Detroit Amps look to protect home court against back-to-back MVP Michael Beasley and the defending champs Miami 305. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and catch replays on BET.
Oh, yay, yay!
Join the KSL Sports Zone Thursday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. live at Kenny J's Barbecue at the District in South Jordan, 11610 District Drive.
Again, we'll be there beyond 6.
Who will be the best player in the 2026 NBA Draft? Put a question up, PK, on our on Twitter. You can vote. David DJ James, 45.5% for AJ, 40 for DP. Booze with 11% of the vote and 3.5% for other. Please explain.
I want to clarify. We'll be there till 6, but the Kenny J's is open beyond 6.
Yes.
Is what I meant. Good food down there.
I've eaten at Kenny J's multiple times.
I can tell.
Ordered a little takeout.
A lot of takeout. What are you pointing at yourself for? You can eat and still then have to gain a bunch of weight.
That was not the implication, but let's talk NBA draft.
That's not true.
We got all summer for this nonsense.
A lot
the draft
there
is tonight.
because the food is good. That's what I meant.
That's true story. There's a lot to sample there.
There really is. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think there's so many factors to go into it, and I think it's so cool that this is so different in terms of the unknown. And, boy, I wonder what I don't know how they track the rating at when the Jazz pick, but what it's going to be along the Wasatch Front. It's going to be like 90%. Everybody wants to know. Even if you're a casual, you want to know who the heck they're going to draft and how's it going to work out and how's the fit going to be and who they passed on. That's what's a cool thing, too, is not just who you draft, but indirectly, obviously, is who you passed on, who you took and who you passed on. Because that'll be something that'll be debated for the next 15 years. And when's that ever happened?
It's an unusual draft. There's no way around it. And we may well be sitting here with there's never been a draft like it. That is possible.
Well, there may be other drafts like it, but if the Jazz are drafting 20th, who cares?
No, that's true.
Yeah. And so since the fact that they're right in the guts of this thing, that just makes it so much more prominent and important.
I like that.
Yeah.
Right in the guts of this thing.
They are. They're not on the fringe.
I like it.
They're right in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. You couldn't get any more in the middle of it.
There are super interesting questions out there about if you're drafting 5, 6, 7, 8, which of those players will excel, and one of them probably will. But those questions don't resonate here because the Jazz are in the guts of it.
They are.
Number 2, where the bigger players go for all the people who care about the measurables.
And I can't speak to Washington or Memphis, but I'm sure they may have the same. They might have the same type of thing. But here, this isn't a once in a time deal. This is a 4-year wait. We have been waiting 4 years.
And nobody wants to wait 4 more years. 4 more
for the moment that is about to be here for all of us.
Shape the franchise for better or worse or pretty good or indifferent or whatever, wherever it ends up falling on the scale.
You can look back, like if your kid is in high school and you're in high school or whatever it might be, college, and you say, man, those 4 years really went by. I always like to interview seniors in the last week and say, man, reflect on your college. Oh, my gosh, I can't believe it. I was just a freshman. But somehow, when I look back at these last 4 years of the Jazz, I can't say, my gosh, that time just flew by. No, it seems like it dragged on and on and on when it comes to the Jazz in the last 4 years. It seems like it's in life, those last 4 years, it just blew by. Not this franchise this time. This has been a slog at a snail's pace. And here we are now. And a large portion of this piece is going to be determined tonight. This is just an incredible moment that is upon us, and it's in a 4-year apprenticeship, basically, to get here. And finally, we're here.
It's a 4-year cycle.
And to me, it seems like it took a long, long time.
I get it. Time moves at the same rate, but when things are going poorly, it seems like time moves more slowly. You don't know for sure when you're getting out of it. I don't think any of us knew for sure, although I think we all felt it the day they traded for Jackson. That felt like, okay, now we're getting out of it. Got to get through the last half season, get the pick, which the Jazz will make tonight, and then it's on to the Summer League. Let's see the pick, and everything starts going.
When they made that trade, okay, the intent was to win this season, but we still didn't know if they were going to keep the pick. We still had no idea where they'd be in the lottery form, and most people are doom and gloomers when it comes to our Jazz.
And
hearts are broken constantly.
The doom and gloomers, the coin flip fell their way. They could be Sacramento drafting 7.
And we didn't know that
Turned
at the
out
time.
every loss mattered.
Now we know, and it is upon us. And there's some people who have trepidation thinking, oh, my gosh, don't blow it. I don't really have that in this case because I feel like I've studied these kids up and down, inside and out, that they can get a really good player. If I had to handicap it and who they're going to get, I would go Dybantsa 1, Boozer 2, Peterson 3.
So you're still thinking Peterson's going to be the top pick?
Or they drops to 3rd.
The only way they don't get Dybantsa is if Washington takes him.
Correct.
I'd agree with that.
But I think they like Boozer. And Boozer is...
There's a lot to like.
You can't say any of these kids are certainly not finished products, not even close. But I could argue that Cameron Boozer is the most proven product. I can argue that very easily.
You can. I can see why you would say that.
Yeah. I won't say the word finished because that's ridiculous.
None of them are finished.
No
Austin
teenager
Inch
is
had
finished.
that quote earlier, right.
Yeah. That just doesn't happen.
Look at all the awesome players in the history of the league. A lot of them weren't even in the league as a teenager.
Most of them, yeah. So with that in mind, if you're looking for proven production, it's like those game shows. I got a pretty good prize here. Okay, do I want to go? And it always bugs me, too. The person who gets first choice of the showcase, they always give that to the other guy. What's wrong with writing in front of you, man? Why do you have to give the other... They always do it. And on Match Game, they always had to choose Richard. Why? Every time.
Because everybody else is going to screw that up.
That's not true.
I can't help you with the showcase, but I can tell you about Match Game.
One time in a Match Game, it was blank butter, and they went to Richard, and he said churned butter. It's peanut butter. And so Richard was not always right.
Maybe the fix was in. Maybe it was Polymarket.
Churned butter? I don't know what the contestant's name was. I don't know if it was Polly or whoever. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But I just remember his answer was churned butter. No. And they always got to give away the showcase every time. And they have to come up with a rule. There has to be at least a $50 differential. One guy can't go $500.
Oh, yeah. You go 500 and
$501.
I go 501 and then just lean over and punch me in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And believe me, I would love to do that.
I know. That's why I use that as an example. I
So
thought you'd find that very
with
satisfying.
that in mind, they should have modified the rules. But you got something really good here. Why do I have to worry about what's in the other showcase? Just make sure I come under, don't go over. And I never understood that. I could be $5,000 under, but if you're $1 over, I lose? No. It should be the differential from the actual price, over or under. Baseball modified rules. I don't understand why the Price is Right can't. Makes no sense to me. So with that in mind, they may decide, hey, Boozer is a player, man, and we know we're the most sure in an unsure situation, which is somewhat of an oxymoron, what we're going to get if we go with Boozer. And do we really want to upset Carlos and CeCe?
You're going to upset somebody. It doesn't matter. Just pick the best player. It's like, when Austin wanted the job, he had to know the times you make a decision, somebody's going to like it, and a bunch of people are going to hate it. It's just the way it is. So, Carlos and CeCe, nice pull, though, on CeCe's name, though. That was good.
So,
hey, you're given a fact 20 years ago. You're not just going to randomly let that go.
No, I may pull things 4 or 5 years later. You never know. And just some random vacation spot. Who knows? With that in mind, why not go with the most proven product? Why not?
Because you don't think in 5 years he'll be the best player. Or in 10 years or 7 years or whatever time span you want. I mean, that's the argument.
But
I get your point on Boozer. He's won, he won in Florida. They got a ton of gazillion good athletes there. And he went to Duke and he looked
a ton of
awesome.
gazillion.
A gazillion. There's a ton, comma, a gazillion.
Not just a gazillion.
I weighed the good players and then I counted.
A gazillion.
I have a new drop.
That is taking it.
Yes.
To the ultimate extreme.
That's what I was trying to do.
A ton of gazillion.
A ton of gazillion. Oh, that makes a hell of a sense. Play the hits. And,
a ton of gazillion.
A ton of gazillion. A ton, comma, gazillion. Got a little sideways
you
there.
did.
I got a little sideways. Yeah, I did.
Gazillion.
I was skidding through turn 3, but I didn't hit the wall. I did not hit the wall.
A ton of gazillion athletes.
I did skid, and there's a chance someone could have passed me down low in the corner.
At Duke, they got 2 tons of gazillion athletes.
I really thought that deserved more of the horn. Try it again. Are you ready? Okay. A ton of gazillion.
A ton of gazillion
come on,
athletes.
Man, when Brian wanted it, it was there. That's all I'll say.
And?
I'm going to put that on my tombstone. He interviewed a ton of gazillion
your
athletes.
mausoleum. There we go. Thank you. That was well played.
So, what did you say after a ton of gazillion?
It doesn't really matter. At that point, the show ended.
A ton of gazillion.
A ton of gazillion. Yeah. No, I think the fits it better.
Wordsmith right there, man. A ton of gazillion.
Want to give the guy who's got to get to work at 9 o'clock something to talk about, and now he's got it. All right, we're going to take a break. You can
want
regroup.
Austin Ainge. Get it back to Austin to where why'd you have Boozer? The guy's a winner, man. He played in high school in Florida. They got a ton of gazillion athletes there.
That'd be great. Maybe I can do that. Are you surprised that AJ isn't pulling away in the poll, that Peterson's doing so well, given the fact that we got a lot of BYU fans who can vote and love AJ? Or Peterson's really winning people over? Move that over. We'll get to that next. We'll update you on the poll. Vote online. Twitter, David DJ James. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Turn it up. Let's go.
It's a new era for sports radio in Utah. This is the all-new KSL Sports Zone. As always, DJ and PK kick off your mornings from 6 to 10. Then introducing the newest addition to the KSL Sports Zone. The coach, Tim Lacombe, joins Scotty G every day from 10 to 2. And as you wrap up your day, Jake Scott and Ben Anderson are there with the best sports talk in Utah from 2 to 6. Live and local, all day, Every day, your home for the best sports radio in Utah is live, on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ice Cube's Big 3 is back. The most competitive basketball league on earth is on CBS this Saturday. Big 3 All-Star Dwight Howard and the LA Riot take on Greg Monroe and the Dallas Power. Then Coach Rick Mahorn, Sensation Nazir Kaur, and the Detroit Amps look to protect home court against back-to-back MVP Michael Beasley and the defending champs Miami 305. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and catch replays on BET.
Oh, yay!
Join the KSL Sports Zone at JCW's in South Jordan for the NBA Draft Roundtable today, 2 to 6, 10660 South Riverfront Parkway. DJ and PK, I thought when we put up the poll question, BYU fans would swamp it and have AJ Dybantsa as the overwhelming choice as who will be the best player in the 2026 NBA Draft, but it's very close. AJ getting 44% of the vote. DP getting 42% of the vote. Booze at 8%. And 5.5% for somebody else will end up being the top
So I
player.
think it's different, though. If you're a Jazz fan, it's more important that you get the best player.
Yep.
Not necessarily
The fan favorite.
Yeah,
the fan favorite.
A BYU. If you're a BYU fan and a Jazz fan, that doesn't necessarily mean you want Dybantsa there.
It does not necessarily, but I think that people see it through their blue-colored glasses, and
Yeah, but that's two different things, though.
it is two different things, and clearly you are right about the way the early voters are saying it. The numbers speak for themselves here. Now, it's less than 100 votes, but nonetheless, it seems to have settled in here as people keep voting.
When we come back tomorrow after we get a ton of gazillion votes,
Exactly.
then it'll be another story.
That was well said. You're a wordsmith.
I have been known.
I thought so. Utah Sanders says, hey, whoever the Jazz draft will be the best. Great development staff, great organization, great coach, fewer distractions. No matter. We'll make one of those three a star. Stardom is in the water. No. No. Sounds good, but no.
Well, I definitely think they can help him get better and put him in positions.
I agree with that. I agree with that
That's more of
point.
the role player type deal. I mean, Jerry Sloan was the master of taking role players and fitting them into the system and say, okay, here's what you need to do, son. And if you did it, you were going to make money in this league. And that was something that he had a proven track record. Would the statues have been stars anyplace else? I'd like to think so. Were they a great fit here? Yes. There's no question about that. Can they make somebody a star? I think they can make them better. But a star's got to come from within. I mean, you look at the true stars most recently. LeBron has bounced around. There's never been a player of his caliber move around so much, and he's been a star everywhere he goes. He can go to Neptune, wherever, he'll be a star. Kobe Bryant, I don't think he needed to be with the Lakers to be a star.
Yeah, I can see your point.
It was going to burn within him to be a star, to be the very best that he could be, and which then would make him one of the very best of all time.
With LeBron, I think Wilt's the only one who really compares as far as bouncing around like that for the game's elite players. By the time Shaq, maybe Shaq, because he did go Orlando to LA to Miami. Now there was more at the end, but he was no longer a powerhouse. He was much more. He was way overweight and breaking down and more pedestrian at that point. But his dominant three teams.
Yeah, so stars are stars, and it's up to the individual to max out. And you want to be in the right situation. I think that that's what I think that you need to have. The old debate, is it who wins the titles, the players or the management? And my answer was always yes, because I think you need to have everybody in line doing whatever your particular job is. You need to be doing it to the best of your ability, and everybody needs to be pulling in that same direction there.
And everybody needs to be good at their job. Otherwise, these jobs wouldn't matter.
That's what it was with BYU football at the before the magic happened stuff, is guys weren't pulling in the same direction. Bronco, he got to his credit, everybody pulling in the same direction. And the results were basically immediately. Well, it just took a shift. And to stop with all this stuff.
Year one was better, and year two was really good.
Yeah. That was a 4-year run there. And year one, even though they went 6-6 or something like that,
it was still way better.
Yeah, and he was just laying the foundation for what was to become. And as a beat writer, you could literally see something that was invisible practically, which doesn't make sense, but you get the point. And then in the second year, how everybody was there was no nonsense. Everybody's going in the right direction, and what they accomplished as a group was phenomenal. And I think that's what you need. And I think we have it here from what I can tell. And that person, whoever it may be, comes into the situation. It's the old Kyle Whittingham. You fit into us. We don't fit into you.
That is critical.
Yeah.
With a big group, as big as these groups have gotten.
Right.
And the traveling parties, they were down in L.A., and they happened to go to a restaurant for dinner where one of my college roommates works. And he's like, they're bringing in 57 people. How big are NBA teams? I'm like, well, it's way beyond the team. It's the organization. And there's so many people, and you just can't have people off doing their own thing. Everybody's got to be pulling in the same direction, as you say. It's too big a project for it to work any other way.
So I don't know that I would count on the management or the administration or the team to be able to get them where they want to be individually. It's got to come from the individual. And that's one of the things that they've got to be able to look into somebody's face and see their soul and see their heart. And that's a tricky thing. But
Jerry Sloan once tapping his heart saying, you never know what's in here.
Yeah, and Jalen Brunson has spoken about that.
Yep.
Every chance he gets. And it's so cool to be able to see. They played that interview when he was first signed by the team. And he was sitting there on a stage talking about that thing. And you're thinking, okay, that sounds good. That's what everybody says, blah, 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 blah. Well, 4 years later, we've got the evidence. And it's overwhelming conclusively. And he was right. He was spot on. Jalen Brunson should be held up as a role model for every young player in this league and in life, really. Because, when you look at it, he was disbelieved every step of the way. And so to see him do what he's been able to do has just been phenomenal. And it's just awesome to watch. It's a great story. And now you want your guy, whoever it may be tonight, you want him feeling that very same thing.
When we come back, Stephen Ellis, NHL draft and prospects analyst for the Daily Faceoff, joins us next. Stay with us.
We all have routines. I'm Jabron, and with diabetes, mine was finger sticks. Sometimes I skip them because they hurt. The Freestyle Libre 3CGM changed that. It gives me glucose insights without finger sticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Finger sticks are required if your glucose alarms or readings do not match symptoms, or when you see check blood glucose symbol for the first 12 hours. The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Ice Cube's Big 3 is back. The most competitive basketball league on earth is on CBS this Saturday. Big 3 All-Star Dwight Howard and the LA Riot take on Greg Monroe and the Dallas Power. Then Coach Rick Mahorn, Sensation Nazir Kaur, and the Detroit Amps look to protect home court against back-to-back MVP Michael Beasley and the defending champs Miami 305. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and catch replays on BET.
Oh, yay, yay!